moment that everything changed was the day of the injury, of course. And the phone call, I still can see my phone ringing and saying Seanton, because I had his name in the phone, and picking it up thinking it was him, and it was not his voice. And the person on the other line saying that he had been shot. At that moment, just even hearing that this had happened, not knowing how bad it was or what was going to happen after, I knew life would be different. And from that phone call on, that was the moment that changed our life forever.
Everything changed when I was on a photo shoot and we received a call saying that Seanton had been shot in the head with a pellet gun. We were devastated, and I had just told Devon, his father, that I had a talk with him before he left the house, asking him if his friends had any type of guns at their house. And he said yes. And I said, okay, well, if you see a gun out, then leave. And once I heard that Seanton was shot, I immediately thought about what we talked about. And for years, I had a lot of guilt because I felt like that conversation that we had was like a premonition, or I felt like he shouldn't have went, but and I took fault in that. But as time went on, I realized the whole conversation, which was, I told him that if, he saw the gun, to leave. And that's the part that took the guilt off of me. And who knows, I don't think, maybe he didn't even see the gun.
I didn't know what actually happened, but when I got there, I could feel, that intensity, something was wrong. And so I got there, huge community of people, our church, they were praying, and I finally got there in the doors with, my pastor at the time and some close friends and my mom and my dad. And I knew something happened, so I immediately just started crying. It wasn't like I knew what happened, but I just was crying my eyes out. And once my dad told me what happened, that was when everything shifted. I didn't know how long it would be. I didn't really know how serious it was. But my dad was a huge, faithful person. That was my rock. So I relied on him heavy to get through what I didn't really know. And of course, through what I knew in my relationship with God was to have faith and to continue to trust him. So that was what kind of happened.
We were informed on the phone call that Seanton had been shot in the head with a pellet gun, that he was being rushed to the emergency room, Memorial Hermann, via life flight. And when I heard life flight, I asked, well, is he okay? They said, no, he's not okay. And I said, well, is he conscious? And they said, yes. And then you can hear in the background the people working on him, him saying that he had vomited and that he was not conscious. And I panicked at that moment, wondering how a pellet gun could do that type of injury. Thinking of pellet guns and BB guns as a kid, never would have thought my son would be unconscious, being rushed via life flight because of a pellet gun. Rushing to the hospital, we get there, seeing the helicopter landing on the hospital, and Latrice being hysterical before that, and us making phone calls trying to figure out even how to get to the hospital from where we were, going into the ER and asking them what was going on, seeing the people coming to support us, and a flood of people being there, but still not able to see him and not knowing what was going on at that point was difficult.
I felt guilty for many years because of the conversation that we had, and I felt like what we discussed was like a premonition, and maybe I shouldn't have let him go. As a parent, you know, we want to protect our children. But as years went by, I remembered the whole conversation. And also, what really helped me was the fact that when I realized I wasn't the one who pulled the trigger, his friend did.